Coffee. Oh, we're live on Facebook. Oh, and I've fallen over. We're live on Facebook and YouTube. Good morning, everybody. Let's do some movement. We're going to continue with the work that we did last week on the hips. Let's find a comfortable space. Just going to mute everybody on Zoom. Let's just start off with a little bit of a shake, just to get the joints loosened, the muscles relaxed. If it's comfortable for you, you just tap the heels into the floor and feel all of that vibration coming up through the shoulders, particularly again, as we know we can hold a lot of tightness or tension in the shoulders. So let the shoulders go, loosen up the shoulders and the upper back. And we've just been talking in our little Zoom session about that nice release breath. So you can do a couple of fuller breaths in and release any tightness or tension out with a breath out through the mouth. So full breath in. And you can sigh that out. And full breath in. And make sure the breath, the R sound isn't catching in the throat. So it's coming from down here. It's coming from deep in your center. And one more time. Relax, relax, relax. Full breath in. And then just slow it down, nicely slow it down. And then back to balance. Just take a moment to feel the tingling maybe through the body, the energy flowing through the body, the circulation through the body. Feel really grounded and stable through the feet, and lifted and lengthened through the spine, nice and tall through the spine. Do 3 nice big arm circles, breathing in, and slowly breathing out. Just breathing easy, naturally, not having to pull air into the body. Just breathing in. Breathing out. Good. Give the shoulders a little roll if the shoulders need a little roll. Bit of rotation. We start with the hips. I'll show you the hips first. So the hips are moving. Peel the heel off the ground of the opposite side. Hips. So you're leading from the hip. 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 Firing from the hips. Watch that we're not leaning back, losing that structure, or leaning forwards. Keep tall through the spine. And now push, push. And when we push again, watch that we're not reaching over or leaning back, and keeping those shoulders down so you feel that nice stretch rotation through the back, lower back, mid back, upper back, and you're just looking in the direction that we're going. No force, breathing easy, breathing in and out through the nose. Let's do one more each side. And then come back to standing. Shake out again if you need to shake out. Let's do our spine breathing. So Knees bent, arms up, open up the chest, look up to the sky, squeeze the bum muscles, maybe getting some nice creaks and crunches. Breathing in, breathing out. In, out. Smooth movement, smooth breathing. Let's do 2 more. Just letting the breath, energy pour into the body. Naturally breathing. And then rest there. Again, just take a moment just to balance. Feel now we've done some rotation, some extension and flexion of the spine. We've energized and enlivened the spine, got the rib cage moving. Feel grounded and lifted. And then step out, we'll go about shoulder width apart. Let's do those big hip circles. So I will mirror you. Let's take the hip to the right. So we drop that right hip out. And then as we come back, keep a nice neutral spine. Keep the legs straight but not locked, so you get that stretch through hamstrings. And then you come over to the left. And then you come forward so you can tilt the pelvis underneath, squeeze the bum, and then again back. Big hip circles at your own comfortable range of motion. So just focus on outside of the hips. Feel also that connection with the ground. Got my foot in a really weird place there. Feel that point underneath the ball of the big toe, just behind the ball of the big toe, in towards the center of the foot. In Qigong, your bobbling spring. Just be aware of that connection point as well as you rotate through the circle. Pushing the hips forwards. Back. Again, nice and slow. And then let's go in the other direction. See if it feels different going the other way. Notice the stretch through the back of the legs as well, particularly as you're going through this circular bit. We tend to do a lot of stretches just forwards and backwards, but feel that stretch as you circle the hips. Let's do 2 more. And then come up to standing. Just bring your feet a little bit closer together. What I like about that little practice, that little exercise is we always talk about, obviously, when we're doing our balance work, that we need strength in that hip. or whatever side of the hip that you're balancing on. So we don't want to be collapsing down like this when we're balancing. But actually at the same time, when we are running and walking, we need a little bit of give in that hip moving that way, because if it's locked, it actually creates sort of like a blockage at the hip when we're stepping forward. So obviously we don't want to be running and walking like this all over the place, but you do want a little bit of absorption. So there needs to be a little bit of give before you step through. So that's why it's quite nice to do those big hip circles, because if you feel a little bit tighter in one side than the other side, you know you need to work a little bit more going to that particular side. Let's come a little bit narrow on the feet and a little bit more of a bend on the knee. And this is the one that you can't see that much, but you're doing the internal rotation, or the internal circle, if you like. So you're doing inside. So if you think of inside of the hip, so you're doing small circles. So if you imagine you had like a string on your tailbone, you're drawing a little circle underneath you. So going one direction. And although this is a little subtler move, you can still check in with what's going on in the feet. Can you feel that really subtle weight shift through the bottom of the foot? Or is the foot just locked on the floor? See if you can relax the feet a little bit. Feel how the top of the foot moves, the sole of the foot moves. And then let's go in the other direction. And again, you might find it much easier to go in one direction than the other direction. Good, and then shake the legs out. So everybody has done our balance practice, so we're all perfect at this. Let's balance on our left leg. And then just use this hip to lift the opposite hip. So you're just hiking this opposite hip, and then just gentle swing. Doesn't have to be a huge swing, just that little bit of a swing with the right leg. So we're doing our balance practice. And again, just go to your comfortable place in this. If it starts to hurt, or if you start to hold the breath, then we just stop, just have a little rest, and then just go again. But the purpose is to feel strong down this left side of the body, and then to feel relaxed, released with the hip of that right side of the body. And you're just using your bum muscle just to help squeeze and swing that hip back. And again, watch that we're not down here or leaning back down here, that you lift and lengthen. Always remember to connect to the floor and to connect upwards as well. That really helps with the balance. If everything comes down here, you lose your balance. So strong on the left, relaxed on the right. And again, if you just need to stop and rest, stop and rest. And then swap to the other side. Strong and stable down the right. Heel, a little bit more weight through the heel. Lift from the crown. And then free up this swing leg. One side may feel freer than the other. May feel even. And again, with this practice, this exercise, if you need to use something to balance, hold and balance, that's fine. Remember when we were just doing the balance practice, we didn't do that because we wanted to work on our balance on that one side of the body. The intention of this exercise is to free up this hip. So use something, use a wall, you can balance on the wall, or use a chair to free up this hip. So it's two different intentions to the exercise, but if you can do it without holding a chair or a wall, it's great. Just swing the leg. And then shake out the legs. You might feel those hips really working that you're balancing on. That's good, you're working those hips. The thing to watch on this one is when you're doing your lifting of the opposite hip, is that you're not overusing this lower back. So I'm not pulling up and compressing my lower back to swing this leg, because otherwise you become tight in the lower back. So it's relaxing and letting go of those lower back muscles as well. So it's really using that opposite hip to lift the hip and let the leg swing. Good. Balance again. And then we'll do swinging across the front of the body. So it's a little bit more challenging because you're challenging your balance and your center of gravity. Again, use a chair if you want to use a chair, or the wall. So you're just stabilizing on this left side and just swinging your right. So we're going in front there. Just nice and easy. Freeing up that right hip. Feel the strength through that support side of the body. Everybody's looking really well balanced there. And then swap sides. Stabilize, always stabilize first. Always prepare first and then act once you've prepared. Swinging across, freeing up, loosening up, mobilizing this left hip. Breathing easy. And then slow it down and shake out the legs a little bit. Have a little bit of a walk around, if you can still walk. And see how much freer it feels in those hips. Good, then come back to balance and we'll do our favourite one, and my favourite one, where we're doing the leg swings. So you're driving hip forwards, so you drive from this leg, hip forwards, hip out, drop. And then drive from this leg, drop. So internal rotate, external rotate, drop. Again, just take it easy, watch that you don't overstress or overstrain. Don't lose your balance and fall backwards, or lose your balance and fall forwards. Keep very much in control. If you can lift that knee a little bit higher, great. If we're just down here, that's fine. And this is another nice one to really get into the rhythm and the flow. See if we can just place the foot as well, so you get that nice soft landing rather than crashing down. So just nice, light, soft place of the foot. And again, you may find one side much easier and much freer, or much more flowing in terms of sequence. Let's keep going a little bit longer. Who's getting clunks or clicks? Yeah, there's quite a few clunks, clicks. As long as it doesn't hurt, you're okay. Let's do one more each side and rest there. Just watching a few of you on Zoom, so I'm just catching a few of you. If I show you in slow motion, I see a few of you doing this and holding it there and then opening. So it's in slow motion, it's up and then it's almost, it's difficult to show in slow motion, it's up and it's almost drop and out, rather than hold and open. It's a very subtle difference, but you're almost letting it swing down and up again, rather than open, rather than that hold and open, because otherwise that you're almost doing this. So feel the swing. It's like swing, 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 and then shake out. So now we've done all of this wonderful hip work. What can we bring it into? We can bring it into one of our tiger squats. So we'll do the squats a little bit quicker, but still controlled, still breathing easy. And again, if you get to here, that's fine. It's not about forcing it. So we're just getting this movement going through the hips. If you can get a little bit lower, that's fine too. So just go to your own comfortable depth and start to get this flow of movement. Have in mind that you're just lowering your pelvis towards your heels. So we're not getting here and then leaning forwards. You're just dropping your pelvis, your bum towards the floor. There. So I'd rather that than this. So I'd rather this than this. So you're just dropping, lowering, smooth and controlled. Breathing easy in and out through the nose. Now really focus on the hands, so really stretch the fingers and then soften and strong and stretch the fingers, really put some tension, good tension through the arms and then soften. Stretch, soften, stretch, soften. Come tall at the top, stretch, soften. Two more. Stretch the fingers, really claw the fingers. Soften. One more claw. And then soften. Come back up to standing. Shake out if you need to shake out a little bit. Just give yourself a moment to let the breath settle by balancing and lifting through the crown. You might feel a lot of nice tingling and energy here in the hips and in the legs. Step back out. I will mirror you on this one. Right hand, palm up under the belly button. Left hand on top of it. Rotate into the left hip. So I'm moving the left hip and the torso is following. So I'm literally just rotating into that left hip and the torso is following. And it's like winding into that hip, and then you're using this left side to push forwards and let that arm just float. It's like a pond. It's called pebble in the pond in Qigong. So it just floats over the pond, and then you swap sides. So we then come into the right hip. So it's like I'm winding up in that right hip, and then I'm using that right hip to fire the pebble floating, and then it comes back, and then you swap sides, and then you wind up in the left hip and then float. So it's a bit like if you were throwing something, you would wind into it. So I'm winding into the right hip. That right hip is then going to fire. Let it just flow out. And then winding into the left hip. Float. Shoulders relax. Good. Winding into the right. Just be aware when you are floating out that we're not leaning forwards. So you do nice and low, and then you move forwards a little bit, but just feel that arm relax, shoulder relax. Then breathe it back in, roll it back in. Let's do one more each side. The movement coming from, the power coming from your center through the hips. And then just come to standing. Nice and tall. 3 big circles. Breathing in and out. In, out. Full breath in and breath out. Pop your hands on your belly. Step your feet together. Connect to the ground. Lift and lengthen to the sky. And give your hands a little bit of a rub. Have a little bit of a stretch if you feel you need any more stretching. We've done quite a lot of stretching, so you may not need any more stretching, and we will finish there. Thank you as always everybody for joining. Really appreciate your time, your attention, for you joining in with the classes. It's bank holiday weekend in the UK, so have a fabulous weekend, and I will see you all next Tuesday. Have a great day. Take care. Bye bye.
Thanks.
Thank you. Bye.